Key Radio Show. I'm your host, Kenny Key Moore. This is the football fan episode. The football season being right around the corner, I got some guests coming on to join me to talk some football. So instead of getting started with some music, we're going to get right into it. I'm going to introduce the guests that are joining me. First up is Coach Brandon Tidwell. He's the athletic director and head football coach at St. Joseph Academy in St. Augustine, Florida. Coach, welcome to the Key Radio Show. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm excited. It's that time of year again, man. It's football's in full swing, and as the athletic director, everyone's asking me a million questions. So I appreciate you getting me away from our real job and let me have a good time tonight. So I'm excited about it.
For sure. Glad to have you. Next up is, joining me again is Darnell Solins. He's a sports writer for the Unfiltered Access website and the host of the Playmakers Blog podcast. Darnell, welcome back on. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back on. Let's talk some football.
Yes, sir.
Love it.
And last but not least is my family, Will Moore. He's been on a couple of times spreading knowledge on some serious topics, but he's also an athlete. He's a semi-professional football player in the Minneapolis area and the host of the Chill Time is Will Time podcast. Will, welcome back on. How's everything?
What's going on, Kyle? It's lovely, man. It's always great to be on your show. Always great to be with family. And as always, any friends in my family, family is mine as well. So appreciate being on with all you guys.
All right, let's get right into it. So, I entitled this episode the Football Fan Episode. And so we're going to kind of talk about some things from a fan's perspective. So the first thing I want to talk about is, my first question is about being a frustrated fan. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm a frustrated fan. So I'm going to need some help in this area from you guys. So my question is, who do you believe is the most frustrated fan base in the NFL and in college? So we'll start with Coach first. Who do you think is the most frustrated fan base in the NFL, and who's the most frustrated fan base in college?
Wow, man, that's a good question. I think, first of all, in the NFL, you got to go with the Browns and the Raiders, and they're kind of the two wildest right now. And you know this, like, you guys have been around, man. Like, usually the people that are the loudest aren't the toughest. You know, they're the ones that talk the most trash and then get hit in the mouth and they run away. You get a lot of you know what I'm saying? You got like the loud guy in the barn, he gets hit once and someone talks to his back and he runs. And the Browns and the Raiders, man, have to be upset because the Raiders have an old tradition of winning for so many years with John Madden and all those Super Bowls that they had. They've had 35 years of just nothing. And they did make the Super Bowl when they lost to the Bucs, 20 years ago, however long it's been. But I would say definitely the Raiders, and then after that, the Browns. And the crazy thing is, and my best friend in the world, he was at my wedding and I was at his wedding, is their tight end coach for the Cleveland Browns right now. So I get a lot of access. It was really fun. On draft night, he was kind of giving me a little heads up who they were drafted. And he spent a lot of time, him and I were together at Florida State when I was there for 5 years as a GA and student assistant, and he went to Georgia, and now he was in the Rams for a while. Now he's with Cleveland. But it's they're very talented. They want to win, and they're a very passionate fan base. At every practice that he's at, man, the place is just crowded right now. So I would say those two teams for the NFL and college, man. It's like pretty much any. I don't have a specific team. I'll let Darnell and Will answer this a little bit better than me. And I've spent some years in Mississippi State working for Jackie Sherrill, and then I was at Florida State for Coach Bowden. So I would pretty much say any SEC team must not win. It's probably the most frustrated fan base at the time, and I'm sure they're calling the people dead. So I'm going to let the other guys run with that. But it is funny. And last name is, and you guys know this, like fan is short for fanatic.
Absolutely.
And, so people get excited for their teams and all that. But I'll let you guys go with the college and NFL teams.
All right, go ahead, Darnell. Go ahead, Darnell.
I'm going to attack this man.
Why is that?
My whole company's out there. But NFL, I'm going to say as of right now, though, Oakland Raiders fans, because
They made this move. They got Antonio Brown. They got Tyreek. They made moves to come get better. Then all of a sudden, AD comes with the drama. He has a foot issue. Now he don't like his helmet. He's not with the team. He's with the team. He's not with the team. Oakland Raiders fans are pretty much frustrated because they don't know what is going to happen next with Antonio Brown. They just want him to play football, make this team better, and go forward. But they don't know what they're going to get from day to day from Antonio Brown. So that is very frustrating to a Raider fan. As far as college-wise, Florida State fans are frustrated. For the first time, probably, I think in 2 decades' worth, they didn't make a bowl game last year. They didn't have a winning season. They went 5-8 last year. It was very hard to watch a Florida State game. And me being a Gator fan, that's something I thought I would never say myself. I'm watching Florida State because Florida State used to have a good program. That was the case last year. So now they're trying to regroup, get it though. But you guys are coming to Jacksonville and playing a Boise State team, which we all know the history of Boise State. They are good from catching somebody clipping. So if they come to Jacksonville and Boise State catch them in the opening game of the season, that was really going to be even more up in Tallahassee.
You know, and I was gonna say, like those well-coached teams like Boise State. I mean, you can get it in college basketball, man, where you see like a Kentucky or a Duke go down to this mid-major team that's got a bunch of fifth-year seniors, and you play a team like Boise State that's well-coached, that has a lot of guys who have been around there, 22, 23 years old. We played a team when I was at Florida State, BYU in 2000. And they had a bunch of older guys, and it was a close game, and we ended up going to the national championship game and losing that year. But you get those teams like a BYU or a Boise who are tough. They think they got overlooked by the bigger schools, and before you know it, man, you get hit in the mouth, and you're in a dogfight, and you weren't expecting it.
Okay, Will, jump in.
I would agree with those assessments. I would say, as far as the pro level is concerned, I gotta go with as far as the most frustrated fan, but I gotta go with Oakland. But this is the reason why. I don't look at it more as, the difficulties and stuff they're going with AZ. I think over the years, yes, they do have a storied history, but I think over the years, I would say as late as, after that first tenure with Gruden and, going to the Super Bowl with Rich Gannon and them, that's been a very self-sabotaging front office and franchise. And I think that's what frustrates the fans the most. It's not just the losing, it's just that, in my opinion, it was really the front office that got in their way and the ownership that got in the way of the team really growing and gelling and progressing the way that they should. A lot of, some terrible decisions and so on and so forth. And then second, I got to go with the Cowboys. Because I guess it's a family thing, because my cousin Kenny's a big Cowboys fan, my grandpa's a huge Cowboys fan, but y'all spoiled, because y'all win so many, back when y'all had Emmett and,
no question
Irvin,
about it.
No question about it. Back in the 90s, you guys kind of had it rolling, with Jimmy Johnson Sr. there, and then ever since then, you've had your ownership really thinking that he knows better and knows what's going on and having his hands, on the franchise too much. I think owners should be just that. Own the team, shut up, move out the way. That's why you hire GMs and front office people and coaches to do the work. I've seen very few situations where the ownership was very hands-on and it worked out very well. As far as college is concerned, I would say number one frustrated team out there, I would have to say my Miami Hurricanes. And that's from the standpoint that we are spoiled as well. We still, I can't lie, I'm still bragging and living off the dynasty years of the 80s when I was, barely walking, crawling around on the floor and stuff like that. And then, we had this, the second stint, when we had Ken Dorsey and crew running the, quarterback, and Andre Johnson and Clinton Portis and crew and Willis McGahee and those guys. And so we're just kind of used to winning. And now, we've had, scandals left and right. I thought we had a nice turnaround there. I thought we were going to do something with Larry Shannon took over the program, and that didn't happen. some things that kind of went down there. And we've yet to really find a great quarterback. I've always felt that that's something Miami was good for after, schools like Penn State being able to bring in decent quarterbacks. I thought that was something Miami was known for, and I've not really seen that out of the program. And then second, I really got to go with Florida State. And that's because, Willie Taggart's really coming in there, and he's really trying to change the face of the program. He's really trying to change the dynamics of how that offense and stuff works. And I think he's trying to, instill a sort of discipline or whatnot there that I don't know if some of those guys that he has in place right now are kind of used to. And so you're starting to see some of that, with a supposed leader like DeAndre Francois getting caught up in a lot of stuff, and some of the other players kind of getting into some stuff. And then, they obviously, they've been a stalwart, and as far as college football concerned, not really making a bowl game and having a losing season, and not just like losing, but losing spectacularly. Some middle of the road teams, like seriously, some middle of the road teams, like getting just smoked and blown out, and it's just like that's not the FSU that I remember seeing, and the Hurricanes haven't competed against. We used to see those really fast and aggressive Mickey Andrews type teams, and just a consistent look at pro style offense, a nice scat back there that can really make things happen. And I just haven't seen the consistency with the program the past couple of years. I think that Willie Taggart is a good coach. I think he's good for the program, and I think if given the time, he can develop the type of program that he wants there and bring Florida State back to prominence in the ACC. But that's if they give him time.
Leave it to Ken to put a hurricane and a gate on the podcast at the same time 5 minutes before they meet.
He wanted to see some drama. That's what it was.
Oh, absolutely. And I got an FSU coach on there. I got an FSU coach on there too, so I'm covering all bases.
But the whole thing with the movement thing is like what both of y'all said. It's like, in addition to it's like really, when you sign AD, okay, you got number one. We still got Derek Carr. We got to Josh Jacobs. We look like we're gonna have a running game. We finally get some things going, and then all the drama is on top of everything. It's like, why?
Yeah, I agree with you guys.
Can't you just get it and go?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it's
like people knew what they were getting when AD came about. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like it's one of those things that it's risk and reward. You see it. All you guys have been involved with sports, and we've seen it. We see it. The higher the skill level, or the higher the level of football, you see it. You see it a little bit in the Pop Warner and stuff. Some of the players who are headaches. The more talent you got, the more they let you slide. And you see it get worse in high school or worse in college, and the way it is in the pros. And it comes down to there's very few. The game's about winning. Everybody's job depends on winning. So, there's just a lot of coaches out there who are going to risk taking upon a headache like that. Everybody thinks they're the ones who can control it. It's like two people in a bad relationship. There's always one person in the relationship that thinks that they can change the other person, and it hardly ever works out that way.
Yeah, for me, I agree with you guys in terms of your pro picks, and I'm just going to talk from my perspective as a frustrated fan. As a Cowboys fan, I definitely, as a Cowboys fan, I'm going to say between them and the Cleveland Browns. Oakland, too, has been dysfunctional, too. I think it's probably a three-way tie if we really want to be honest about it. But for me, from my perspective, being a Cowboys fan, it's really been super frustrating being a Cowboys fan because, like Will said, you got an owner that thinks he's a GM, and it's taken pretty much almost 20 years for him to finally get out of the way, and now we're finally building a team that can contend for a championship. And for me, in terms of college, I want to also go from my perspective as a fan, as I'm a Notre Dame fan. So I'm going to throw them in the mix as well. Yeah, I'm going to throw them in the mix as well because they haven't won since like the 80s. It's been like yeah.
That's the one thing you're going to get. That's the one thing you're going to get this a Florida fan, Florida State fan, and Hurricane fan that agree on. We don't like your team.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That goes without saying. But it's all good. So
I'm just gonna put it like this. Everybody knew y'all weren't ready for Alabama that year, and everybody knew y'all weren't ready for Clemson last year.
And that was my point.
For anybody in the top 10.
That was my point. It's like we can win. We could beat the Purdue's. We could beat the Michigans, who's been down for the last few years. But every time we get into a big game or a statement game, we get stomped out. And it's so frustrating.
Y'all don't prepare for it. Y'all be buttering up y'all schedule. You need to play against one top 5, top 10 team, maybe two, and strategically do it at the beginning of the year. That way, if you lose, you got a chance to work your way back up into that national championship conversation by the end of the season. Y'all always play a weaker schedule, and then your numbers look great, and then when it's time to play the big boys, you're not ready.
I will say,
Hey, Coach.
No, I'm just saying, Notre Dame, like, everyone gives them a hard time. But physically, in that game against Clemson, who we saw what they did to Alabama, like, they could have scored again at the end. They could have ran it up on Alabama. Notre Dame played better than Alabama. And then, you talk to the SEC.
They did.
They're like, well, we're tired from the season. Well, you had 6 weeks to prepare, and you beat everybody in the SEC by like 30 points. So you weren't that tired. So like, everyone gives Notre Dame a hard time. Listen, go play Georgia, because they played Georgia this year. Go play Southern Cal. Go play Stanford. That's who they're playing. And they're 5 games on Purdue, who, by the way, beat Ohio State. And then they played no one wants to play Army. Army, went out there and beat Houston.
They're always hard. Army's always hard to prepare.
Right? So, I'm not a Notre Dame guy. And to be honest, I spent 7 years in college football, so I really don't root for anybody anymore. But Manny Diaz and I work together, so, Manny and I text quite often, so I love Manny and I hope he does well. But, I don't have a team, but, like, people give Notre Dame such a hard time, and I'm like, man, like, they're not a bad team, man. They're cupcakes. They're ACC, they're Duke, who went to a bowl game and had a top 6 pick in the draft. So I'm not a big fan of people giving Notre Dame a hard time. Now, was it 8 or 9 years ago when they got hammered Alabama? Their personnel wasn't great then. But their personnel, when you watched them all year, and even against Clemson in the first half, it was like a tight game. I'm like, man, these guys are pretty good up front. So I'm not so sure if Notre Dame's that far off as people think that they are.
It might just be my bias. I still don't want to give them that much credit because I still don't think that they really played.
You're a hater, cousin. Just say it. You're a hater.
I don't think that they played, very tough. But I will agree with your assessment on SEC fans making an excuse for Alabama. They have plenty of time to really be prepared and the rest of, and the fact that they're in the SEC all year, every season. Those boys are supposed to be equipped to handle that type of beating and trying to go through that type of punishment. You're not supposed to. Now all of a sudden it's supposed to. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it be an advantage in why you're such a top-notch program year after year, and then when you get beat up on, you try to use it as an excuse and say, "Well, this is why we lost." No, it's one way or the other. So I do agree that Bama fans or SEC fans can't really use that as an excuse.
Let me change the narrative because I'm not one of those SEC fans that gave up my Alabama got torched. It was clear and Clemson had the talent.
Oh, no question.
Oh, yeah.
What you don't think when you play against Alabama. Clemson had the talent, and it showed.
Yeah, they
were no you beat Michigan, but the thing with Michigan is they always show up against Ohio State. You beat Michigan, but it's like Harbaugh ain't living up to their expectations anyway. Once in a while, you'll play at Florida State, you'll play at Clemson once in a while. That's good. Yeah, you got USC, those, so you pretty much your rivalries, but Denver ain't been the same since Andrew Luck left. USC's been down since who knows how long now.
That's a lot of people watching.
Yeah, but when you get to a playoff scenario, it's pretty much the NFL top pick all in the same game now. How do you measure up?
Exactly. No, I had the schedule for last year. I mean, and these schedules are so far in advance. I mean, they do them 8 years in advance, so it's hard. They didn't think USC, who is a national power, would be down, and Stanford's had a bunch of good years, but they Virginia Tech last year. Pittsburgh won the ACC championship game. They're not great, but there's no cupcakes in there. Navy, Northwestern, Florida State, and who knows how they didn't know Florida State was going to be bad. Syracuse, who had a good showing in the bowl game. At Southern Cal, their schedule. Like, listen, man, the SEC plays one double A plays Citadel 4 times a year. You know, and like these guys, their worst teams are like Duke and Pitt and Wake Forest, who are pretty good. So I want to defend Notre Dame and their schedule tonight there, Coach Moore.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach. Don't worry about the rest of them haters.
And I'm biased, man. I have no feelings. I don't root for the Canes or the Knowles or the Gators or Notre Dame, but I try to give an opinion and stick up for a fan base that naturally you get hammered because they get a lot of the run too.
They do.
No, that's one thing I give Notre Dame credit. They play mostly, you know, Power 5 teams.
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm not.
You're gonna have your SEC team in there somewhere. So you can automatically give every SEC team one win or automatic. Because it's like really you paying the other team to come in and play so you have to get an easy win, stuff like that. Other than that, they play mostly Power 5 teams.
They do.
I do think that on the contrary, I will say I do think the SEC is being complained about the ACC as the best conference. I think it's been a quiet shift, but I think that shift has definitely happened. If you are paying attention to like the coach has been saying here, you know, at different teams as far as what they've done at the respective conferences, I think there's been a real quiet shift to right now the best college football conference until proven different this year. I have to say it. I got to give it to the ACC right now.
I won't give it to nobody else to the Big Ten.
I can't.
Top to bottom, you're gonna go with the Big Ten over the ACC?
Michigan and Wisconsin, for some reason, always winning 9 to 10 games like every year. And then when bowl season happens, you can see how the Big Ten works. The Big Ten, for whatever reason, always has a good showing during bowl season, and they have multiple teams winning 8 to 10, 11 games a year. It's like ridiculous. Out of that conference.
I think the best coaching is in the Big Ten for sure. They started getting on the bandwagon or whatever you call it 10, 15 years ago. They started paying coaches before they did. Now they're paying guys, and they've got a great staff. I still think the best players, of course, in the Southeast, and that goes to the ACC and the SEC. But we're talking about schedules a second ago, and I don't know if you guys ever paid attention to this, but like Nick Saban, who's the best ever, and I worked with Coach Fowler for half a decade, so I can say that he's a manipulator of schedules. Now, you ever look at Alabama's schedule, they play one non-conference team always, never on the road. It's either at their place or a neutral site, like in Dallas or within the Cowboy Stadium.
That's true.
They always have a bye before their big games, like LSU and all. There's always a bye right before that game. And they mix it in and out, like there was Citadel and Wofford and teams like that. So if you ever look at Alabama's schedule, they're like, hey, we play the SEC and we play one Power 5 team, but they never play them on the road. And they all, before their toughest games, he always had the bye week leading into it. So good for the best of all time, Nick Saban, because that's what I would do too, if I could do it.
You know what? I don't think I ever thought about that until you explained it that way, and you're 100% right. Like now that I'm actually starting to think about it, I don't think I ever really put that together. But you're absolutely correct with that.
It's strategic for sure. So let's kind of switch gears a little bit. So who do you think out of these teams we talked about and their frustrated fan base, who do you think is going to be the first team to win a championship?
You talking about NFL or
yeah, NFL and college. The teams that we've talked about, the teams that we talked about in NFL and college that has the most frustrated fan bases, who do you think is going to be the first team to win the championship?
If Jerry Jones really took a step back like you say he did, Dallas is ready made to make that shift. They have all the pieces together, and the reason I say that is because their core group has kind of been there. Yep, Cleveland has made some moves, but I'm always a firm believer in team chemistry. You know, even at the semi-pro level, where I play at, when we switch teams, stuff like that. Chemistry does a lot.
Oh, for sure.
At every level. And Cleveland got a lot of weapons, but it's going to take some time for those guys to gel. And then with the Raiders, I still don't think they have enough pieces. I think Dallas right now is ready-made for that. They have the defense. They have the key pieces on offense. It's whether or not they make the necessary signings, put things together the way they're supposed to this year, and Jerry Jones really stays out the way. I think if you look at numbers and percentages, I think if you're a gambling man, you have to put your money on Dallas.
What do you say, Coach?
You know, it's to me in the NFL, it's really four things. It's the owner one, and then what you guys talking about, like the GM and all that. Like, what is your ownership like? Next after that is your quarterback, and then it's head coach, and then it's how are you on defense. And really, I looked into defense and the offensive line together. I think, out of all those teams we talked about, the Browns and the Raiders, and you got to go with the Dallas as the best team. I kind of look at it as a coach, like, what if I was in the NFL and coached and was an owner or whatever, like, I would be like, what are the Patriots doing? And whatever they're doing, like, I would kind of ask myself, and you do have, like, the best quarterback of all time, and probably the best head coach of all time, but are they signing a bunch of wideouts, or are they signing, what are they doing? How are they doing the draft and things like that? Out of the teams we discussed, I would go Dallas because, Garrett's not the best, but he's consistent. The quarterback play is not bad, and he's got great weapons around him, and the offensive line is probably the best in the league, or close to it. And then defensively, they've got some good pieces too. So out of the Browns, Raiders, and Cowboys, it would have to be the Cowboys that chance to win the Super Bowl.
Go ahead, Darnell.
I'm sorry, Ken, but I have to see when they on you. I can't pick the Cowboys, man. I can't do it. Why? We all know. Yes, they got the talent. They got the defense, quarterback, and receiver. You gotta believe Jerry Jones is again will get everything straight now, and he'll beat them when we won. When I look at the road to prosperity, what team has the easier road? Dallas got to deal with Philly in their own division. They get past that, they got to deal with New Orleans, the Rams. There's already three teams.
And he's a Rams fan, by the way.
Most likely, we don't know what Pittsburgh gonna look without AD and Le'Veon Bell this season. They got some good pieces. They still got there, but we want to see what they look like. Other than that, the Chargers, they don't got nothing going, and they just don't during James. So that's a offense and defense for the Chargers. You got Kansas City and you got New England.
You still got
at least 13 Cowboys got to go to
New England.
So are you picking the Browns?
I gotta go with Cleveland, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, you're reaching. They just came together.
The NFC is so much easier.
Yeah, you're reaching on that one.
The NFC is difficult. It's just like 4 or 5 different teams that can come out of that conference. There's only like 2 or 3. AFC that can come out of the conference.
I agree, but they just put that team together.
I'm sorry. Like I think I said, to pick between the three teams that we discussed: the Cowboys, the Raiders, and the Browns. I'm going with the Cowboys out of those three. Now I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl now. Just so you know.
Coach, you were just with me. What happened?
The road to prosperity is easier in the conference. That's all I'm saying.
I
don't necessarily think the Cowboys can win the Super Bowl, but I think they have the best shot at it. I just do. I hear what you're saying about the different teams that are there, but if it's about winning the Super Bowl, consistently just about every year, New England's in that championship game is hard to beat, man. I think Kansas City is on the rise.
For sure.
I think if they actually retool that defense the way they should, their core group of players will be there for quite some time. They just have the recipe in New England. If Jacksonville figures an offense out and the defense gets their head back together, like they were a couple years ago, and stop playing so undisciplined, dude, that's just as many teams that you got to run the gauntlet with in the AFC as the NFC.
This is true.
I think the AFC actually has more pedigree just with just looking at New England itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about the NFL teams. So out of the college teams that we talked about, which one do you think has the best chance of winning a championship, or would be the first out of the ones we talked about?
Florida State. Because I believe last year was just a number. That would not happen again at Florida State. They ain't gonna get recruits no matter what this they name.
I gotta see 2 more recruiting seasons out of Florida State before I say that, because
Yeah, they got to build that program.
the players that he had, the players that Willie Taggart had, like, I don't think necessarily, at least to me, didn't necessarily look like they fit his system, and it didn't necessarily seem like their personality types or whatever fit the type of the guys that he wanted on the team. And so for that, I think there's gonna be some rebuilding there, and I can't see FSU getting there that quick like that.
So what would you pick, Will?
I mean, so he picking Notre Dame. Won't talk about two games.
I mean, what we say, Florida State,
Florida State, Notre Dame, Miami.
I can't believe I'm saying it,
yeah.
but it's probably Notre Dame.
I know it's hurting you to say it. Say it with your chest now. Come on.
I can't tell. I want you to edit this episode.
The thing with Notre Dame, they have the time. The problem is,
It's the defense. It's the defense.
The coaches do not get them ready for the big one.
No, it's the
But they got
defense.
time. It's like, why y'all keep getting over a match?
It's the defense. It's all Notre Dame never has a problem scoring. They just can't stop anybody. So there's never a problem with the offense. Usually, Notre Dame can score with pretty much any team in the country. It's just the defense, and that's my problem with Brian Kelly. They never look at the defense.
Like, how does the coach not get
That's my problem.
for these games?
So I don't know.
I think a few years ago they weren't there talent-wise. I think they're getting a little bit closer. I think Kelly's a pretty good coach. But it's hard at Notre Dame, guys. Like, Lou Holtz did it, but like when Lou Holtz was there, they loved
with the academic standards for sure. That's true.
They had great athletes, and they let them in. And Notre Dame has so many academics.
For sure.
Yes.
That is true.
You know what I mean? Getting kids in there. So it's, I will say that it's hard at Notre Dame to really compete against the Alabamas and the Clemsons. Like, I think you can beat the teams that they're playing. But when you play, and listen, he's beating Alabama and Clemson like nobody else. Right? So it's like they get ready to play. Well, how the hell LSU do when they lost by 25 to them? You know, so it's just tough at Notre Dame and Miami. And you guys might have already thought of this, but you know, when we played in the Orange Bowl, there was a mystique to the Orange Bowl. Now that wasn't.
No doubt about it.
But the Orange Bowl was theirs. And you went to it, they had that like 58-game winning streak or whatever they had there. Like, we went in there a few times, and like problems. They played rap music in between each play. They had players.
Yeah, the smoke.
They bet some close home with Bush Davis, and that was their stadium. And you didn't go in the Orange Bowl and win. And until Miami gets, and I love Manny, and like I said, we connect often, but like until they get a stadium, kids, they want to play in front of 85,000, and they want to be sold out each game, even if you're playing Citadel. And if they're not playing Florida State or Notre Dame, there ain't anybody there. And kids know that. So I think until Miami gets a stadium, and they can, because where they are on campus in Coral Gables, like, there's not enough room. But until they get something that's theirs, I think they're going to have a hard time. And then with FSU, like, I think Coach Taggart's a very good coach. And if you look at him in year one, compared to year two, everywhere he's been, he's gotten a lot better. And year two, there's a lot of kids. There's a lot of kids who signed with Jimbo Fisher. And when you sign with somebody else, and that staff and that head coach is in your living room, and then someone else comes in and they have different ideas, you're like, well, that ain't my coach. Until he gets his guys, I think people have to be patient. But that's a hard thing to do in Tallahassee.
And that's exactly what I was saying. It just looked to me, it just looked like, because, you know, when you, just like you said, when you look at Shaq record, he develops teams. Like, he gets teams going. There's improvement from year to year. For one, I hope that he gets the time to do so. And you can just tell, looking at the team, like, how they were, like, that wasn't his team. He was coaching them, but that wasn't his team. And so I think it's just going to take some time. He's going to need, what do they say? It takes a full, 3 to 4 years for a new coach to come in and really necessarily affect him because that's his recruiting classes. I feel like they got to give him that time.
That's
It's gonna
interesting.
be kind of hard. It's gonna be kind of hard for him. This year gonna be a lot harder for him, and that's because of what Dan Mullen has done in Gainesville in his first year already.
This is a Gators fan talking. You got to take that with a grain of salt.
UCF, his first year. So they looking at Gainesville and Atlanta, and they like, yo, their first year they were still doing their thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they were really top 5 coach. I think he was top 5 coach. Now I think he's not the best recruiter, and I've known some guys who have worked for him, but you're gonna get enough guys that for him to win. And I coached Georgia last year. The bowl game against Michigan. Michigan had 4 of their first-round picks didn't play, which is a big deal. But I think they're very well prepared. I think he's like I said, I think he's an underrated coach. But personally, I think he's top 5 in the country. Like what he did with Urban Meyer. I know they had good players, but he was fantastic. And then, listen, man, I spent 2 years of my life in Starkville, Mississippi, as a grad assistant, and it is hard to win there. Like, there ain't nothing around there. They shut everything down at midnight in the town, so there's no nightlife, and it's intense there, man. And for him to go there and to be ranked number 1 in the country for 7 straight weeks. Now, I know he had Dak Prescott, a 2-star recruit, that he turned into something, but, like, they were ranked number 1 in the country for 7 straight weeks, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't it amazing? And now he's in Florida where you win national titles. Like, they're going to be really good, I think, with him.
Yeah,
I would have to agree with that. I actually said the same thing. I remember when he was there, because I'm an avid college football fan, and I was just like, wow, like I just didn't expect. I didn't expect that out of Mississippi State when he was there. And so I looked at it as like, I looked at it as a testament to his coaching ability. And I'm like, well, that's like the same thing, if you're a race car driver, you gave him a station wagon, he shows he can win races with that. He turn around and you give him a Ferrari. I expect nothing but great things.
absolutely. So let's kind of switch gears a little bit, and let's talk some fantasy football. Me and Darnell are big fantasy football fans. I'm not sure if Coach and Will, if you guys are into fantasy football. But I wanted to ask this question. Why do you think fantasy football is so popular today?
I think it's popular just because it really allows any and everybody to really kind of get involved in football in more of a, I'm not going to use the word technical, but more than just a casual viewer. And it allows them to kind of get involved in their own way. This is what I mean by that. So I did fantasy football for like 2 or 3 years. And I just, it was cool, but I wasn't like huge into it. And I noticed every year, I was in a league with a bunch of friends that I played college football with and played semi-pro ball with. The people that always win the league didn't play football at all.
Yep.
And that was good. That was straight. That was always the case. And I actually started to try to figure this thing out. I'm like, how are these people like? Who are these folks? How are they winning? And I started thinking about it like, and this is what I mean, where it allows people to kind of, who aren't football players or haven't been, to really like find like their niche or their way to really get into the game. Because me and my old teammates, we would pick our picks and we would look at the game. We're thinking about it as far as like typical like regular football strategy. Well, what type of defenses are these guys going up this week? What does that defense look like? How successful are they against the run? How successful are they against the pass? What are their tendencies? On third down. Like we're really thinking about it as if we're like playing going up against these other people. This is where the age of what do they call it, analytics comes in.
Right.
These other folks, you're starting to see it in all sports, baseball, basketball, everything. This allows those type of folks who don't have that experience playing football and to be be honest, I would go as far as to say it's a handicap to play fantasy football and be an ex-football player or be somebody that's really, like a coach or something like that. Because it almost, I think to be great at fantasy football, like you can't think in that mindset, and we're so conditioned to think of football from the mind of an offensive player or a defensive player or a coach. The things that it takes to win fantasy football, the analytics type of skills that it takes, looking at numbers and picking up and dropping players, for this moment and that moment, stuff like that. That doesn't come to us like instinctively. And so I think that's why it's picked up. It has more of appeal to everybody. And everybody can pick up and do it, and they feel like that they can actually be a part of the game that way. At least that's my belief about it.
What do you say, Coach?
No, I agree, man. Like the biggest thing, and I do play. I don't play every year. I don't play this year with a group of buddies of mine. But one thing is like people, what are the draft teams or whatever? There's a lot of money in it, and anytime you bet, and I think that's one reason that
Oh yeah.
NFL's so big.
No doubt about it.
That there's people are betting on everything. They're betting on the coin toss. They're betting on this, and there's so much money involved. So like, I think the betting part of it is huge, and the money that people put into it, and like you just said a second ago, man, like it's almost like you're the head coach of this team, and you're talking trash, and you're with your buddies, and listen, man, like if we wouldn't play pickup basketball right now, and I played with some buddies of mine, like I'm diving for loose ball. I'm in my 40s, but like I'm not very good anymore, but like I want to try to beat my buddy, because that's a lifetime trash talking and so I think there's so much in it between the betting, between you thinking you're the coach and like you're really trying to get a strategy to get your team, and then like you want to beat your buddies who are in there with you. I think there's like three elements that go into it. I think that's why it's so popular.
For sure. Go ahead, Darnell.
Pretty much, I'm going to make it this. Everybody can be their Jerry Jones when it comes to that.
That is true.
The GM and the coach are all at the same time. You can pick whoever you want to pick. You can start wherever you want to start. You can trade. You can make trades. You can do everything. Everything is in the palm of your hand when it comes to fantasy. So when you get in these leagues and you do these drafts, you do FanDuel or DraftKings, and money is involved, it adds even more to it. As a matter of fact, when money is involved, it goes up exponentially then. But it's something like everybody can get into. Not everybody have a reason to get into football now. And that's why football is going as the largest sport in the United States. Because it's pretty much you can gamble with football now while watching it.
Yeah, definitely. I think you guys all hit onto it. I think one other thing is the draft part of it. Is you get a chance to kind of be your own GM, and a lot of times like Darnell and I are in the league together, and you have these draft parties, and then you get together and you're talking trash and you're making picks, and you're talking trades and stuff like that. So you really feel like you're actually a general manager of a team. So I just think it gives everybody kind of a peek into, or give them an opportunity to feel like they're an actual part of the NFL. And then also I think it makes watching the games more fun, because if you're a fan of a team, then normally I'm a Cowboys fan, so of course I'm going to watch Cowboys games. But when I'm a fantasy GM, I'm looking at all the games that my players are playing on. So a Giants versus Jaguars game is not going to mean much to me. It'll mean a lot more, though, if I got, Nick Foles as my quarterback. You know what I mean? So it just makes the watching experience, I think, a little more fun, because if you got players that are playing in the game that's on your team, you're going to watch those games just to see how your players are doing.
The best fantasy story I ever heard, I can't remember the tight end. He played for the Redskins for a bunch of years. They kind of looked like an H-back and a tight end.
Chris Cooley?
But anyways, he was in the Super Bowl.
Oh, I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
Chris Cooley?
He was a Pro Bowler for a couple years, too.
It might have been Cooley.
It is. Chris Cooley is his name.
That's it. So he was in the Super Bowl, his fantasy team, and he went against himself, who was on the other team. And in the Super Bowl, he scored like 4 touchdowns that night.
Wow.
That's enough when it comes to like an NFL guy. So it's good, but it is fun, man. It's good to get out there with your buddies, and I guess we got a draft. What is it, next week or two? I guess they'll start doing the draft.
Oh yeah, like Doug.
Some of them have started. I've seen some people get involved in them already.
Yeah, some people have already had their drafts. Yeah.
But I think some of the larger ones, they kind of take place in the next week or so after the teams start doing their initial cuts. Because I think after this week is the first cut or something like that.
I already got 2 of them right now, so.
So and I am coming for a third one.
Yeah. We'll see about that. So, Coach, you kind of hit on my last question. And I appreciate you guys being on with me. This has been a lot of fun. What has been your most memorable and most heartbreaking memory in fantasy football?
Well, I go first. So, kids, I don't know if you remember this, but it was my second year in the league with y'all, and the first year I was dominating until I got to play a lot of like 13-1, and then I wasn't supposed to play. But the second year, I did it again. I'm like 12-2, and I'm first round the semifinal playoffs. I'm going against the Bishop daughter, who doesn't care. You can care less about football. Who doesn't care less about football, but she doesn't want to do it in one good time. I'm looking at her. I'm seeing Le'Veon Bell and Zeke Elliott, and I'm looking like, there's nothing I can do about this. I'm about to lose to a girl who can care less about football. And then she went on to win the whole thing. Like I said, it's the people who
don't know nothing. That don't know nothing.
Now, the greatest moment, I didn't do it last year, because we usually do 3 leagues, but last year we did one league of 20 people. Wow. And in a league of 20 people, I'm scoring so many points. Nobody can understand why I'm scoring these many points. I went on ahead and took on the church.
He did.
Scoring 200 points a game.
He did.
That's awesome, man. Well, for me, the best one, so I have a little strategy, and not that it works. Like, I'm always pretty deep in the playoffs. I've won a couple Super Bowls. I always try to draft like a team that's going to score a lot of points. I always try to get their quarterback first. And then I try to come back later as soon as I can to either get their running back, if he's good, or their wideout, like their big play wideout. So my strategy is like every snap, if I've got the quarterback, the wideout, the running back all on the same team, and it's got to be like the Saints, the Packers, a Patriots. Every snap I'm getting points. Either they're handing the ball off to my guy, or Brady's throwing, and there's a shot that we might hit a connect. So the best one is that one year I drafted Brady first. This is 7, 8, 9 years ago. And then my next pick, I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to roll the dice here. I'm going to take a guy named Randy Moss, who hadn't had a couple of good years.
Of choice.
You guys know.
Wow. Oh, yeah. That year he had like 20-some touchdowns.
It was nuts, man. It was like fireworks every game. So I take Brady, and I come back and get Moss in the second round, and my buddies are like, what an idiot. He hadn't been good in 3 years. I'm like, man, he's got a different duty, so they don't throw the ball to him. And then I ended up getting I can't remember if it was a Burke. I can't remember who their running back was. I ended up getting their running back. Dude, I lit the league up because it was that year they weren't on the records and then the Bucks were undefeated.
Yeah.
So that was probably my high right there.
I got you.
Somebody tried it out of me, I think either last year or 2 years ago. I don't think I remember. I was got Kenny probably remember. They had Alex Smith, Kareem Hunt, Hill, and Kelsey. I'm like, holy Chiefs.
Yeah. It's hard to do that though. Yeah, it's hard to do that.
And it didn't work for them because I won that call.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Okay, well.
I'll tell you mine was the worst loss ever. So I wound up one week, happened to be matched up with one of my old teammates' wives. So I'm going against her. She didn't have a terrible lineup, but nothing spectacular, right? So I put things in order. I'm using my football brain, right? And I'm like, okay, they're going against this defense. I got my team set, right? before I started, I forgot he had a bye week. I lost that accurately. I'm talking about I was out of the running within it seemed like the first 10 minutes of the game.
Man.
It was a blessing. It was bad.
Man, when I lost to the division starter, I don't know if y'all saw the game. I had Aaron Rodgers and I had Jody Nelson. They went up to Buffalo. I mean, they was like at the 1 yard line on the other side. And Aaron Rodgers threw a bomb to Jody Nelson. I'm thinking like, oh, this is a 99-yard touchdown. And Jody Nelson dropped it wide open. I'm like, oh, so this is how it's going to go for me.
That's fantasy football. Well, I got one for both sides. So I'm gonna start with my most heartbreaking one, and then I'll do my most memorable. So my most heartbreaking one was in our league, Darnell. The first year, I think it was the first year of our league, and I made the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, I made the Super Bowl against Chris, Darnell, and I had Eddie Lacy. I think I was down like 5 points or something like that. And all I needed from him is to get 100 yards, and I would have got a bonus, and that would have won me the Super Bowl. This dude finished with 97 yards. Like, to this day, if I ever see Eddie Lacy in the street, and I know he's probably like 300 pounds, I don't care. I'm going to swing on him. That's how, that was my most heartbreaking one. And then my most memorable one was, it was one year, I had my own league in Yahoo, and one of my cousins got in the league, and he came in talking a whole lot of trash, about how great he is, this, and that. And, I started off kind of slow. I think I started off like 1-3. And he was talking, and he started off like 4-0. And so he's talking all this noise, this league is so easy, this, and that, and your team is trash, and da-da-da-da-da. And I went on a run and won like 9 straight games and won the Super Bowl. So for me, that was my most memorable one. But that Eddie Lacy, man, that one still burns me to this day. It really does.
I'm still trying to figure out how he let this about me. Ezekiel and Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, it's always to me it's always the ones that the heartbreaking ones that stick with you longer than the actual wins.
You know the bad when you know the bad when your whole team didn't play and you just know this done.
I think that's how it is in any competition, though. Is it the worst? Always our worst losses were always the ones the close ones. It was never, where it was a decisive win or a blowout or whatever. Because at least I knew if it was a decisive win or blowout, either they were just flat out better or it just wasn't our week. But when it's close, you can think of like 10, 12 different scenarios in the game where if you had done this one thing different, you'd been on the opposite side.
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap this up. I really appreciate you guys being on. And Coach Tidwell, good luck this season with the Flashes. I know you guys start week 1 this week, so good luck with the guys. Kind of shout out the team and tell everybody how you guys are looking this year.
Work better, man. It's kind of like what you guys are doing with basketball. I mean, it's a work in progress at St. Joseph, so we're kind of changing the mindset. And, we played last Friday night our kickoff classic, a 5A public school, satellite high school, and they dressed 70 kids. And we
wow.
Our 38, we timed 14 all.
That's big time.
In the basically the kickoff classic is what it is. So you don't go to overtime or anything like that. So our kids play hard, and it's just get them in the weight room and a year-round program. And it's a small school, so like we share athletes with our basketball, football, baseball. But it's a deal where they're in the weight room year-round now. We're doing 6 a.m. workouts and things like that. So we got a chance to be good. We were undefeated last year and lost in the second round of the playoffs. So we got 14 starters back. I'm sorry, actually, AT started back off that team from a year ago. Our schedule's a little bit tougher, but it's fun. And you know, Kenny, it's a good school, and it's a good kid.
For sure.
And they're pretty tight together, so I'm excited about the season.
For sure. All right, Coach, I need you to keep Ethan and Tavoris healthy so they'll be ready for basketball season.
Absolutely, buddy. We're gonna take good care of them, and Darnell and Will. Thanks so much for having me on.
And Will,
appreciate being on with you as well.
Will, talk about your semi-pro team and shout out your podcast.
Yeah, so played for Northland Bulls. We actually lost first round playoffs this year to a team that we had actually beat 2 weeks prior. It was one of those tough ones. We didn't have it offensively. We didn't have it that night. But it's a great group of guys. Love playing with them. Hopefully, I get selected to the Semi-Pro Pro Bowl again this year like I was last year. But it's a game I love. I know, pretty soon here I'll probably give it up and just kind of, because I have, a great career in public health that I'm focusing on it as well. And I don't know, I would kind of like to get into coaching, man. I like kind of seeing the youngsters kind of really get into the game. And I like seeing kids develop. I like seeing kids have an opportunity to do something, to get off the street, and then seeing the growth in them, man. I think that's the educator side of my family. To see that positivity and that growth out of kids. And then the podcast, I'm taking a hiatus from it. Still kind of full time. Obviously, anybody it's available on any platform. Talk about anything from politics, fashion, social justice, sports, current events. I'm taking a hiatus from it just because I've been so busy with my consulting firm and football and just my work in public health that you only have so much time for so many things. But I do have an episode in the queue to actually put out, release here pretty soon, publish here pretty soon. Cool. So I'll be doing that. But as always, man, I just like to say, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity and coming and join you and your crew on the show. I always love and support the show. Miss you at the family reunion, but I hope to see you at the next one. And I appreciate the other two guests. It was great kind of being on here with you guys. And, success and good vibes to the both of you this year as you continue on with things.
Definitely. And Darnell, tell people where they can find your writing work on Unfiltered Access and shout out your podcast.
Now I haven't been writing on anything. I've been mostly a project leader now, so I come up with series of writing. And at the moment in time, we preview on all 8 divisions of the NFL on Unfiltered Access. So we got 6 of them out there already. We're waiting on about 2 more to get done. For the podcast, Perfectly Broad Podcast, you can catch us on 10 different platforms from Anchor to Spotify, Stitcher, Google, and Apple. Also, we got a YouTube channel now, so you just won't be able to get the L's and audio. You have a video presence on the YouTube channel. We are in the middle of doing division previews right now. We be previewing the AFC and NFC West, so I'll be talking more about Antonio Brown, unfortunately. We get ready to talk about the SEC and the college podcast, and we're going to be previewing the Florida, Miami game, and Arizona, Hawaii game. So we coming up, we still walking and rolling. So me and Dallas going to get ready for that. Ken will be on sometime during the regular season, so
for sure.
A lot more fun.
Definitely. All right, fellas, I really appreciate y'all being on, and thanks again for being on the Any Key Radio Show. Now it's time to wrap up the show with the Any Key Music Moment. Football season has started, and fans everywhere are excited to watch and root for their teams. Everyone is feeling the same way for the most part. They're optimistic about the possibilities this new season is going to produce. Life is the same way. When a new season begins in life, we have a positive outlook that is going to go well. As fans, we believe that whatever happened in the last season isn't going to carry over into this new season. That's the same mindset we need to use for our new seasons in life. It's a new season with new possibilities that's going to work for us. In football, there can only be one champion. But in life, we can all be champions if we manage our season properly. That's it for this episode of the Any Key Radio Show. I I want to thank my guests, Coach Brandon Tidwell, Darnell Silence, and Will Moore for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, would like to be a part of the show, or if you want your music to be featured on the show, send an email to kanmpub@gmail.com. Again, that's kanmpub@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, and rate on whatever outlet you listen to let me know what you think of the show, and so you can get alerts when new episodes are available. You can connect to me on social media at Coach_ANYKENY on Twitter and Instagram, and on my Facebook music page, Any Key Music, spelled capital ANY, capital KE, lowercase b, lowercase n, and capital Y. So until next time, remember, be positive on purpose.